Mr. Chairman, thank you for holding these hearings. I hope that we get the other members of FSOC to also testify. It's simply, Chairman is a lofty position, but if you were to interview the chairman of this committee, I'm not sure you would get the views that would reflect every member. And I'm glad that Secretary Liu is here, but I look forward to hearing from the others. You've got litigation on whether, I guess it's MetLife or perhaps Prudential is a SIFI. You have filed your reasons to dismiss their lawsuit under seal. You're the client. This is a document filed on your behalf. Could you just put it on your website, because it's of public policy interest, of course, redacting any proprietary information about the individual company? Why would the reasons for arguing the dismissal of the lawsuit be under seal?
Congressman, obviously it is a matter under litigation. I'm not going to comment on the substance or the process of pending litigation. We have tried in all of the designations to be as transparent as we can be while protecting legitimate commercial information that we need to protect.
Well, I would hope that you would make that document available for members of this committee, since it's a public policy document as much as anything. Lehman Brothers didn't go under because it had too many assets. Went under because it had too many liabilities, particularly contingent liabilities. And I'm confused as to how there's discussion of mutual funds being listed as SIFIs. Now, obviously, if the markets drop by thousands of points, that's terrible for the economy. It's terrible for me because I've got my individual account. It would be just as terrible if that same money was in a mutual fund. Why would an unleveraged mutual fund be classified with a SIFI, knowing that it has no liabilities?
Congressman, in the review of asset managers, we have made the judgment that the area that we need to spend considerable time on is looking at activities that asset managers engage in and whether or not there's risk associated with those activities. We haven't completed the review yet, so I'm not in a position to
Are you looking at whether the asset management company would go bankrupt, whether the mutual fund would go bankrupt, or whether the economy would suffer, not because the SIFI wasn't able to pay its liabilities, but rather because a big company was doing this or that in the stock market?
Look, ultimately, the questions of looking at financial stability involve looking at what the losses would be to creditors and associated businesses, not so much of an issue here. What the run risk would mean in terms of the potential spread to the economy and markets. Whether or not it locks up access to one or another kind of essential services. We are looking not just at firms, we're looking at activities to see whether...
So an entity could be designated a SIFI not because their inability to pay their liabilities would cause a problem, but just because their activities cause a problem.
No, I mean, the question is, are there activities within asset managers that if there were, under a stress situation, a series of bad events. These things don't happen in good situations. They usually happen when there's a lot of bad things going on.
Okay, I want to go on.
And we have to understand, are there activities in those asset management firms that present the kinds of risks we need to be concerned about? I don't know the answer to it. I mean, we've asked this question.
I need to move on to another issue.
We've asked the question knowing that the answer could be yes or no. So I don't sit here today with a firm view.
Yeah. We're, of course, faced with this trade deal. We're told that they're enforceable standards, but they're usually enforceable only if the executive branch of our government is willing to take action. With regard to China currency manipulation, we pass a law requiring the executive branch to do things. You've explained to this committee last time I asked you about it that, well, the law is really bad policy and so will not be followed. If the executive branch won't enforce U.S. laws, because our trading partners would find that offensive, it's difficult to see how any provision of any trade agreement would be enforceable if that enforcement required the executive.
The time of the gentleman has expired.